and welcome to the second episode of this Houston Astros franchise. We're gonna actually set up our sponsorships. Let's give it to some players that do not like them. First off, happening is I'm sorry to see him really bad. After that trade, let's see what we can do here. I'd like to keep Jets out because for some reason I'm so good at hitting baseball. Alex, okay, no. Roy does. No, Roy's out. There's a lot of budget room in this trade also. Yeah. See what we can get. In sports movies, I like those. I think only in Madden. For now, that's it. So, So now if we look at our roster, it's set to 16. That's a wall. Unless you want me to make multiple parts of the game, I'll go record 15 minutes. I can't stop. I can't record the whole game, so I cut parts of it. Here we go.
Inside the Show with Justin Allegri.
Hello, baseball fans. Before Thursday's action gets kicked off, let's recap what went down around the league on Wednesday. Starting in the AL West, the Tribe did battle against the Stros at Minute Maid Park, and it was the Stros who pulled out the victory, 5-0. Dallas Keuchel was dominant on the bump, grabbing the victory with a complete game effort. Also out of Houston, the club has acquired relief pitcher Rex Brothers in a trade with the Colorado Rockies for third baseman Matt Dominguez. According to team sources, the Rangers paid visit to the East Bay to do battle with the Athletics. The A's came away with the win. The final was 4-0. A.J. Griffin twirled a dominating complete game shutout on the mound for the victory. The Angels were in Seattle to take on the Mariners, and it was the M's who came away victorious. Final score was 5-2. Justin Ruggiano was a major force at the plate as he drove in 4. The Baltimore Orioles visited the Rays at Tropicana Field, and it was the Rays who came away victorious. The final was 2-0. Drew Smyly was in total control on the mound as he tossed a complete game shutout. The Toronto Blue Jays paid visit to Yankee Stadium to do battle with the Pinstripers, and it was the Yankees who secured the win in extra innings. The final was 5-4. Mark Teixeira was a force at the plate, driving in 3 runs. The Twins were in Detroit to take on the Tigers, and it was the Tigers who came out on top. The final, 7-3. The White Sox were in KC to take on the Royals, and it was the Royals who came out on top. The final, 5-3. The Braves were in Miami to take on the Marlins, and it was the Marlins who came out on top. The score was 2-1. The New York Mets were in D.C. to take on the Nationals, and the game wore on to extra innings with the Mets coming away victorious. The final, 4-3. The Boston Red Sox matched up against the Fightin' Phils at Citizens Bank Park, and it was the Bo Sox who came away victorious. The score was 4-1. Rick Porcello held the opposition in check, allowing only 1 earned run over 8 strong innings and earning the win. The Cardinals paid visit to Wrigley Field to take on the Cubbies, and it was the boys from Northside Chicago who grabbed the W. The final was 6-3. The Pirates went up against the Reds in Cincinnati, and the Reds blew away the competition 6-0. Homer Bailey gave the bullpen a day off, turning in a complete game effort in the win. The Colorado Rockies paid visit to the Brew Crew at Miller Park in Milwaukee, and it was the Rocks who came away victorious. The final was 5-4. The Giants were in Phoenix to take on the D-backs, and the Giants came away with the win, 7-2. The San Diego Padres paid visit to the City of Angels to take on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers collected the W. The score was 3-1. Hyunjin Ryu held the opposition in check, allowing only 1 earned run over 8 strong innings and earning the win. And that's the show. Thanks for listening in. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and updates from around the majors.
Him and no, I traded for this guy. We are when they're not looking for something.
Inside the Show with Justin Allegri.
Happy Saturday morning to you. Here's the news and results from Friday. Starting out west in the American League, the Astros paid visit to North Texas to match up against the Rangers, and the Rangers blew away the opposition 6-0. Derek Holland earned the victory on the hill, tossing a complete game gem. In other Astros news, free agent Jabba Chamberlain has agreed to terms on a 1-year deal with the organization. The Royals paid visit to the OC to take on the Halos at Angel Stadium, and KC nabbed the extra innings victory. The final score was 3-2. Alex Gordon turned in a nice performance offensively with 3 base hits. The Seattle Mariners were at O.Co Coliseum to take on the A's, and it was the A's who nabbed the extra innings win. The final 4-3. The Red Sox continued their legendary rivalry with the Yankees in New York, and the game wore on to extra innings with the Yankees walking off with the win. The final was 5-4. Mark Teixeira led the charge offensively with 3 RBIs in the contest. The Blue Jays were in Baltimore to match up against the Orioles, and it was
Inside the Show with Justin Allegri.
Good morning, baseball fans. A great
Do here then. We're not being that hot, but we're not the best jobs yet. And we got something together for the Mariners, so. 8-14.
Inside the Show with Justin Allegri.
Happy Friday, baseball fans. Before the weekend series get underway, here are the highlights from Thursday's action. Starting in the AL West, the Mariners took on the Astros in Space City, and it was Houston who came away with the win. The final was 2-0. As of today, the Astros sit in last place in the American League West Division, 5.5 games back. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim did battle with the A's in the East Bay, and the Halos were victorious, 8-0. Jared Weaver was dominant on the bump, grabbing the victory with a complete game effort. Right now, the A's are atop the American League West. They have a small game-and-a-half advantage over second. The Angels are fourth in the division. They're 3.5 games back. The Detroit Tigers took on the Royals at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, and it was the Royals who prevailed. The score was 2-1. At the moment, the Royals are in fourth place in the AL Central. They're 2 games back. The Tigers are atop the division. They have a small half-game advantage. The Chicago White Sox were in Minnesota to take on the Twins, and it was the Chi Sox who came away victorious. Final score was 4-2. Heading into today, the Twins sit in last place in the American League Central Division. They're 3.5 games back. The White Sox are third in the division, only a half game back. The Toronto Blue Jays were in Cleveland to play the Indians at Progressive Field, and it was the boys from north of the border who were victorious. The final 4-3. Jose Bautista was clutch at the plate as he picked up 3 RBIs. He has now hit safely in 7 straight games. As of today, the Indians are atop the AL Central. They have a small half-game advantage. The Blue Jays sit in last place in the American League.
And they will take that trade. First base.
Inside the Show with Justin Allegri.
It's Sunday morning. Welcome to Inside the Show. Saturday provided some great baseball and some interesting storylines, so let's get to it. Starting out west in the American League, the Seattle Mariners visited the Astros in Houston, Texas, and it was the Astros who came out on top, the final 7-3. Tony Sipp earned the victory on the mound, his first of the season. In other Astros news, the team has acquired first baseman Adam LaRoche in a trade with the White Sox for starting pitcher Scott Feldman and first baseman John Singleton, according to team reports. The Oakland Athletics took on the Rangers at the Globe in Arlington, and the A's were the winners, 7-2. Billy Butler was a clutch performer at the dish with 4 ribbies. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim battled the Giants at AT&T Park. The Angels came away with the win. The score was 3-1. The Yankees took on the rival Red Sox in Boston, and it was the Red Sox who came out on top. Final score was 5-2. Alan Craig was a force at the plate, driving in 3 runs. He is currently riding a 12-game hitting streak. The Rays paid visit to Charm City to take on the O's, and Baltimore was victorious, 8-2. Ryan Flaherty was a major force at the plate as he drove in 4. The Toronto Blue Jays paid visit to the rock and roll capital of the world to match up against the Indians, and it was the Jays who came away victorious. The score was 4-1.
And we swept the Rangers, which is good
Inside
to
the
see.
Show with Justin Allegri.
Good Thursday morning to you,
we
Show
swept the
Nation.
Rangers
Let's
this
jump
week.
right into Wednesday's baseball action. Starting in the AL West, the Texas Rangers traveled to Houston to take on their division rivals, the Astros, at Minute Maid Park, and the Astros nabbed the victory, 6-1. Brett Overholtzer held the opposition in check, allowing only 1 earned run over 8 strong innings and earning the win. The A's matched up against the Minnesota Twins at Target Field. The Twins came away with the win. The final was 5-4. Danny Santana had a huge day offensively, collecting 3 hits and driving in 3. He is currently among the RBI leaders in the American League. The Mariners took on the Angels in Southern California, and it was the Halos who prevailed, the final 6-4. The New York Yankees were in Canada to battle the Jays, and it was the Yankees who came out